Well, hey guys, Conceptual Concept 6.9 here, and as we all know, the AK market is ever fluctuating. There's a lot of different options. There's good, bad, and ugly on there. So today we're going to address one of the most common questions I've gotten on the channel overall, which is, what's a good, solid AK that I can trust my life to, that's not going to fail me? And there's a lot of snake oil companies out there. There's a lot that build AKs halfway to spec, and they don't hold up. So let's get into it. Let's start with the cheapest, Pioneer Arms. From what I've seen, have some issues. I don't have any personal experience. And at the price point they're at, they have to be taking shortcuts. There's no way they're not. And so I can't recommend those. Let's start with that. I don't have enough experience to tell you exactly what's going on, but since everything's personally funded on this channel, I'm not going to buy one. And so that's where we're at with that. I don't recommend it just because I've seen other people have issues, and I'm not even going to try it. Now next is Century Arms, and I'm talking Century Arms built AKs, not imported AKs. Two different things. But Century's built AKs have constantly had shortcuts to try and keep the price down, between casting bolts and trunnions to enlarging the trunnions, maybe using softer metal, some various other issues that Century Arms has had overall in the history of its manufacturing process. The most recent one I can think of that I've seen personally, one of my friends bought a Visca, and within 1,000 rounds he had actually sheared off a bolt lug from it, and it was difficult to get replaced. Century did not do its due diligence with warranty. They made it as difficult for them as possible. And even their newer models are using RPK trunnions, which leads me to believe that they're taking some shortcut that they think they need that RPK trunnion for, to compensate for. Because if an AK is built properly, it does not need an RPK trunnion, especially for semi-auto. So Century's out. Now let's get into PSA. PSA is probably what most people are thinking of when they think entry-level AK. Palmetto has a lot of different SKUs, a lot of different models, and they are bringing some of the coolest AK designs to the US market, US made. So I cannot express how badly I want these to be good. Unfortunately, they're just not. And so this is from my experience, from multiple other YouTubers' experiences who are not bought and paid for, who didn't receive the rifles for free, who invested their own hard-earned money to test these guns. And time again, when you hit decent round counts, they start falling apart. And that's because the QC is shaky. A lot of their models don't have countersunk rivets and dimpled receivers. Now, I've seen they've started doing that recently. Personally, I haven't seen a lot of issues with that. I've seen issues with metallurgy. I've seen where bolts are prematurely wearing, firing pin channels are getting blown out, and so you end up getting primer in that firing pin channel. I've seen loose parts not properly pressed, rear sight blocks, stuff like that. And so they have a lot of issues. Let's start with the one I tested that did really bad, the AK-102. I had over a dozen malfunctions inside of 670 rounds. Almost all of them were stuck rounds in the chamber, stuck casings, not rounds. And I did have a separated case at 215 rounds. Checked headspace, it was safe to shoot, so I continued. I gave up at 670. I was trying to do a 1,000 round review, but it just wasn't worth it. Another thing was the gas tube lever was loose, so it just free floated. It bounced back and forth as I shot. Thank God my hand guard was bolted, so it held the gas tube in place. And lastly, the bolt had major premature wear. For 670 rounds, the lugs had rolling metal to the point where I could catch my fingernail on it, which 670 rounds, that is awful. You shouldn't even see that at 30,000 rounds, much less 670. So something was off with the bolt's metallurgy. Either it wasn't heat treated, or whoever they sourced the bolt from didn't use the right materials. I don't know, but that bolt was way too soft to be in a gun, and it would cause you to lose headspace. And that gets into Kalashmannc NC. He had an AK-102 and it blew up on him. And so believe that lost headspace. That's typically what happens when you lose headspace, and So that reflects what I was seeing off of mine. So I'll post a link to his video up here somewhere. And I'll post links down below to all my references. So next would be Jang Gun. He was having a lot of issues with his. He was starting to see the headspace walk on his AK-101. And lastly, Wyoming Gun Project tested an AK-101 that had awful QC as well. So those are all the small bore AKs. Now next, let's get into the large bore AKs, the 30 cals. Those tend to work a little better, but the QC still isn't there. Chubahcabrah, if I'm pronouncing that right, he's got an awesome YouTube channel, just started. He has an GF3 that he had, I think, between 2,000 and 3,000 rounds on, and he was having serious bolt tail deformation. He was having rolling metal on the lugs of his 30 cal.
It's gone.
And he was having the same primer issue getting into the firing pin channel as the 5.56 guns, which I haven't heard a lot on their 30 cal, but clearly something was off with the bolt metallurgy there. And so that's an issue, man. Like those quality control issues stack up, and when you're buying a gun and paying a decent chunk for it, you want it to work. I would rather pay an extra couple $100 and get something worthwhile that's gonna last tens of thousands. I'll put Chubahcabrah's video card up here. It'll also be in a link down below, but great video there. It showed some issues, and some people might say, hey, the GF5 won't have that issue. The only difference between the GF5 and the GF3 is the barrel. So you're getting the same bolt, you're getting the same trunnion, you're getting the same bolt carrier as a GF3, and those were what were having issues on his gun. So again, I don't trust it. It has an FN barrel, really cool, but it's not cool if it doesn't hold headspace. So that's it for my rant on the PSAs. I really want them to be good, and it does look like some of their newer models are at least using countersunk rivets, like their 7.62x39 Krinkov gun, which I honestly really want to try, but I also don't want to get burned again. So comment down below if you think I should try it again. So now we're gonna get into, hey man, you just shot down a bunch of the different AKs I was thinking of, right? What do I recommend?
So enter the WASR 10. This is the best starter AK on the market right now, so you should get one.
Now, the WASR 10 is by no means a perfect gun. It can be a little rough around the edges. The machining can be a little unclean. The front sight post can be canted. The magazine wells on the older ones, the newer ones are a lot cleaner because they're doing it by a CNC machine versus by hand. But some of the issues on here are small. You can deal with them, and the best way I can describe it is the WASR is kind of the Colt of the AK market. And a lot of people say, well, Colts are fantastic, their quality control is great, and to that I say,
you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
So why I consider this kind of the Colt, the entry level, the base rifle, the baseline of AKs, is because all of the parts are built to spec. They have proper materials, proper heat treating. Everything's by blueprint. Now, they might be rough around the edge, but these will last you. And why I say that is Battlefield Las Vegas uses WASRs for their AKs at their full auto rentals, and they have several guns that have gone over 100,000 rounds. Again, I'll post a link down below to the article, but these things just hold up, and it's because they have the proper materials, proper parts. Another good option if you're looking for a shorter one would be a Draco, built in the same Cougar factory. Now, these are imported by Century, and as I talked about Century made guns earlier, this is an import. It's made in a military factory, so it is made proper. It's going to last you a lifetime. You'll be able to mag dump into trash piles all day, every day with this. Anyways, don't forget, go outside, touch grass, eat ass, alright?